Welcome everybody to Windy City Savage. We are live, back at it again. Sorry for the month you went in the way, unfortunately, but we are back. I am your host, Windy City himself, and I am joined by.
Guys, y'all know how it's about to hit down. Come on, man. Let's talk.
And let's talk some business. Tonight's main event is what is going on with The Rock and WWE lately. So SG3,
Hit me.
you saw The Rock's comments on the Pac McAfee show and how they had this plan to turn Cody heel, right?
Yeah.
And at some point, they turned it down, and pretty much Triple H and Cody Rhodes, rightfully so. But I don't think it's a good time to turn Cody heel yet. But down the line, I think there is a heel run. But right now, he's still selling merch. He's still great as a face. It's not the time. But that being said, apparently, when that was turned down, there was another idea of turning Cena heel instead. Triple H is like, hey, how about we just turn John Cena heel instead, Rock? So The Rock said, all right, let's go with that. And so The Rock said the only reason he showed up at Elimination Chamber was because he was asked to show up because they weren't selling enough tickets at Chamber. So at this point, they begged for him to come back. What's his name? Ariani? Yeah, I think that's his name. Ariani asked him to come. And that's why he involved himself in the storyline where he asked Cody to sell his soul. And we already know the story behind that, how Cena turned heel and it looked like he sold his soul instead. But apparently after that, he told both guys, like, my work here is done. You don't need the final boss. You guys do what you guys got to do at WrestleMania. And that being said, I was at Mania itself, and a lot of the people in there, a lot of people on the internet, a lot of people everywhere right now were very disappointed that the fact that the Great One did not show up at Mania. Even though he did insert himself into the storyline, it didn't make sense for him to appear and not to show up afterwards. It's just like, what was the point? Like, and I get it, you had Travis Scott, but Travis Scott does not feel the same as The Rock. And honestly, I didn't even put Travis Scott as a threat. What's your 2 cents, man?
Very much the same. I honestly didn't think The Rock was going to go show up. Personally, I just did not feel like Rock was going to show up. I felt like Rock was going to probably, if he does anything, it's going to be on the Monday after. But I feel like at this point, Rock said the right thing. I'm going to be devil's advocate here because that's kind of what I do best in the show.
Right.
And I feel like Rock did best because he's like, listen, if you need me to sell tickets, then you're not doing the right stuff behind the product.
Okay.
So he did the right stuff by turning Cena heel. Now you did what you had to do. Let Cena work the mic. Let Cena get the heat. Let Cena do what he's got to do. He did it.
Okay, but and I get that, and I agree to it. It just at some point though, it didn't make sense storyline. It felt like something was left on the table and it wasn't finished. I don't believe for a second. I mean, I do believe they asked The Rock to show up to Mania, which he could have. But it didn't make any sense for him to do the whole storyline and just walk out. I feel like there was some difference in creative. I feel like he did show up, he did turn Cena heel, but after that, he wanted no part of Mania just because I felt like he felt the type of way that they shut down his storyline twice in 2 years, in 2 years span. What am I talking about? Roman Reigns versus The Rock last year was supposed to go ahead after The Rock took the Royal Rumble entry. When Cody Rhodes basically won, he took his winning Royal Rumble entry ticket to WrestleMania, took it away, and did not make any sense at all.
Yeah.
And the crowd definitely let him know, and they had a change of storyline. And I feel like that kind of ticked off The Rock a little bit, but not enough for him to move out away from the storyline and created the final boss, probably one of the best heels of that 2024, storyline at all.
It was the best heel of 2024.
Yeah, it was some good story.
We were there twice. We saw how he was on the microphone. We saw the reaction. We were in Chicago when he showed up, beat the living hell out of Cody. We saw that reaction, dude. Yep. So it was like we felt that electricity. Heck, I was super excited for WrestleMania during that time.
Yeah, but here's my bone to pick with The Rock. So Netflix on Rock debuts, right?
Yeah.
We get The Rock, and we're like, all right, what are we gonna get tonight? WrestleMania season is coming. It's already January. We're here. What do we get? We get The Rock breaking kayfabe, hugging Cody Rhodes, drinking a shot of tequila with them, getting all lovey-dovey, and just completely killing the whole kayfabe at this point. Look, I get it. Wrestling is predetermined. We know it. But my God, dude, you're trying to sell tickets here. You left a lot of fans confused when you did that. What was the point of doing that, though? It's my question.
I think he did it for this reason. I go have a shot with you, and you start thinking like, what am I like? What are you doing? And then I'll come back during elimination chamber, do the 3.
Mhm.
Then after that, show up again, Cody. I want your soul. Sell your soul to me. Infinite championships, greatest of all time. No one's ever going to question your legacy going forward. You're going to be removed from Dusty Sun.
Okay.
Like no one's ever going to just refer to you as Dusty Sun now. Okay. You are now the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. I'm going to give you everything henceforth. Sell your soul to me.
Which I understand, which I get. It just, I don't know, man. The whole way The Rock went about it just seemed like very unscripted. Very like he doesn't even know what he was doing at the time. It seems like kind of sloppy if you think about it. Because then the next night afterwards, he came out of NXT unscripted because he said he was unscripted and just told the fans, just shut up and enjoy the ride that we're giving you guys, And so let's forward it after Chamber to WrestleMania, where I don't know about you, but it was everybody, including myself, and I was there live. Besides the experience, which was great, it just felt lackluster. Yeah, night 1 was kind of great, the main event. I do admit that's one of the better triple threat matches that I watched in a long time. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. It didn't seem like a jumpy type of like match, when they're trying to do spots and all. It felt like let's get in, let's kick some ass. That old school triple threat style type of match.
Yeah.
It felt great. That I would admit. Night 2 though felt, I don't know, just a little lackluster, and kind of like the energy in the crowd just kind of lost after Cena won. Like we were expecting something else. We just didn't get something else. We got Travis Scott, for God's sakes. I don't look. You could have gave me anybody out there, anybody, but why Travis Scott? Like,
that's supposedly like he had with Cody after the fight,
which I get, but it just doesn't feel like a big threat. Like out of all people, Travis Scott, man, it's just when did this guy become Cactus Jack and the merchandise he's selling right now? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When did he become a wrestler? Okay. Yeah, like it just didn't seem like a threat. It seemed kind of lackluster. Everybody's complaining, as well as a bunch of podcasters complaining, like Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer. And well, here's the thing. Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Meltzer his props, and he was right. Remember I think it was earlier in the year. He said that The Rock is actually not going to show up at Mania because he has obligations in Hollywood.
Yes.
And during that time, everybody was bashing on Meltzer, saying you don't know anything, and they were bashing him, and even The Rock bashed him and said, no, I'm going to be there. I'm always in the storyline, I'm the final boss, this and that. Threw some shade at Dave Meltzer. But fast forward it, Meltzer was right. Yeah, which was shocking. Just like for once, Meltzer's actually right.
About WWE,
yeah. Sure. And every podcaster, not even those two guys, every podcaster out there has been complaining about this Mania being very lackluster this year. And I mean, from a guy who paid good money to go see it, I agree. The reason why I agree is because if I'm shelling out thousands and thousands of fucking dollars, and you're giving me a C average show, which that's how I felt and everybody else felt. Some people may go give it a B. I just don't see it nowhere near an A quality show. And this is I think this is one of the most successful Mania due to the ticket prices. Because I don't think they sold out. But since the high price increase of tickets, it generated the most out of every WrestleMania yet. Okay. which is crazy because that's how much they're jacking up these fucking ticket prices. Oh, and by the way, SummerSlam, I got this notification today. If you want ringside tickets, guess how much you're gonna pay? That would be cheap. 40 grand.
What the?
Yeah, that's been announced. I have no idea that their ticket prices have increased to the point where you can no longer afford it for a family to go. Instead, you'll be lucky if you're single, maybe have a partner, but as a family, if you want to take your kids, good luck. Just good luck. We got a comment actually.
Kennedy says, the biggest complaint is not seeing The Rock. Should The Rock have appeared? That's what I'm talking about, brother.
Personal opinion, yes. It was expected. He was involved in the storyline. It just did not feel like he finished the storyline. It's just like, why involve yourself? You know, I get it. Sell your soul. But it felt like something bigger was supposed to happen. Instead, we got Travis Scott. Like, I get it. He's a big rapper, big celebrity. But like in the WWE world, could have had Bad Bunny instead. You know why he got a pop? Because everybody thought once he appeared, The Rock was going to appear. Even me. I had my phone going back to the stage, like, all right, we're going to get The Rock coming back. And I waited. I still waited, and I didn't get anything. So I turned back. And when Cena finally won his 17th title, congrats to him, by the way, I turned back, and I'm like, all right, The Rock's going to come out. I waited, and I waited, and then nothing came out.
I waited again.
And when I was walking out, I turned around and was like, all right. No, nothing. Okay, let's go home. It just felt very lackluster, very disappointing. And a lot of critics are saying, too, it's probably one of the worst main events, Mania. I don't want to say it's the worst. I've seen worse. Roman versus Brock.
Roman versus Taker.
Hulk Hogan versus Yokozuna. Where he took Bret Hart out, for God's sakes. Yeah. So I guess the question is, though. Oh, yeah, that was bad. Fucking horrible. Oh, wait, Roman versus Triple H? Oh, my God. Roman, you got like 3 of them right there.
30, 31. How many times have you been talking about the
Jesus Christ, probably.
All 3 matches for Brock, because
I think one of them was good.
The one where Seth cashed in?
Exactly.
That doesn't count.
But look, my thing is, so if you saw that interview with Pat McAfee, he did say, like, look, I had nothing to do with this Mania, which kind of sucks. Like, if he really did say that, like, he didn't want nothing to do with it, seems like he had some ill will towards creative just because they didn't go to his direction of turning Cody heel. And since they didn't go with this direction the second time in the year, he's like, you know what? You guys do your thing. I'm out. He said he was at Hawaii, and he did announce that. And he said he watched Mania at Hawaii, and as well, he didn't expect that Travis Scott was going to come out. And he did say, like, oh, that was a surprise, but I mean, if you ask me, I would have done things different in creative. So that kind of threw a little shade at creative and Triple H.
Yeah.
So if you notice one thing, when Triple H got inducted to the Hall of Fame, he named a couple of his greatest rivals. He left out The Rock.
Yep.
He did. Yep. He did not mention The Rock. And so it's kind of weird that you know, all of a sudden, you know, these guys are not meeting eye to eye, it looks like, because one threw shade by not saying.
Because I don't know if you heard, there's been a rumor. Rumor has it around the internet wrestling community. Triple H is about to get sacked.
Triple H is about to get what?
Sacked, like he's going to get fired.
I don't know.
The Rock's basically just like, all right, dude, go ahead. We'll show you. You go ahead, keep doing what you're doing. You're about to mess up completely. Once you mess up, then you're out. We're going to bring in, I forgot who he's trying to bring in to actually start writing everything. But he's like, all right, cool. So if the rumors are true, this is kind of showing you the build up to like that said rumor.
Well, see, I get that. I think this is The Rock's way of throwing Triple H under the bus in case shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also his idea to insert himself into the storyline with Cody Rhodes, and as well as him turning, heel. And when it didn't go well, he still inserted himself for Cena turning heel. Well, that's the thing. It's like you insert yourself in this storyline. We expected you to finish it. He didn't want to finish it. It looks like he just wanted to. All right, I gave you something. You guys do the best you can. You kind of gave him a half-eaten meal, and they had to fill in the rest, which I think there was no way to save this. I think it was purposely sabotaged. It looks like to me, and then the fact that he's like, you know what, I don't want nothing to do with this. I'm gonna go take a vacation and just come back on the Pat McAfee show and throw some shades. Just seems a little bit kind of odd here. Like something is going on with him and Triple H. Could those rumors be true? Maybe so.
Don't forget he's on the board of directors now.
Yeah, he's a little bit higher power. But let's be real. When it comes to creative, Triple H is best for business. I feel like. Yes, has he had a lackluster year maybe compared to last year? So far, yeah, but recently with the Monday Night Raw, how that turned about, especially with the new alliance between Seth, Braun, and Paul Heyman, and maybe there's another one added eventually in the future. We don't know. Could be Becky or could be someone else, Yeah, it could be anyone. Like, it could be even another guy. Yeah, we could still get a fourth guy, but regardless, what I'm saying is that, yeah, sometimes some things fail, but when some things fail, other things succeed. And that Monday Night Raw afterwards, turning Becky heel, doing that, and the direction right now looks like Jay versus Logan, which is probably a good match for Jay in a way. And let's be real. Whether we like it or not, Logan still gets views. Yeah. Logan can still wrestle, and I think that would be a pretty good match. So there's some good creative control going about this way, but I don't know, man. I just feel like there's some animosity there, and what's going to be in store for the future with The Rock and WWE at this point? Like, when does he come back? And here's my issue: is that, let's say he comes back, he makes a couple appearances here, right? Maybe SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and then next year Mania season comes about. Once again, January, he shows up, he tries to insert himself in the storyline. The issue is, though, we're going to remember last year's storyline. And we're going to be like, what is this guy going to sell us now? What kind of bullshit he's going to pull this time? That's the thing. It's not going to have the same aura that it did before.
Punk did call him up for that.
Yeah. And bullshit. So that's the thing. You had Punk called you out. You had all these people get mad at you, but nothing came about it. It felt like it's lackluster. And that's what I'm trying to figure out is what direction are they gonna go with now at this point, going forward with The Rock. And that's the thing. We know that The Rock is kind of a diva when it comes to like him doing his thing. We saw that in Hollywood where he had issues with Vin Diesel, where he had issues with DC. Tyrese. Like, there's so many things he had issues. All these clauses were like, hey, I can't get beat up. Hey, I can't look bad. I have to look like a badass at all times. It has to be this type of character and that character only, a diva. And once he kind of came back into the groove of WWE, honestly, in the beginning with him inserting himself between Roman and himself, we're like, damn. But when everything played out the right way, when the crowd finally let them be known, like, hey, we don't want this shit, and he went to the final boss and he showed us that he still has it, we applaud, and rightfully so. And I guess that's also another thing is him calling out everybody out there saying that, hey, you guys know it's kayfabe, it's not real. That's what he said to Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. Like it's not real. Enjoy the show, Which, look, I get it. We all get it. But, dude, don't kill off the business this way. I get it. The internet's out there. They're about to make a Netflix documentary style about what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Me neither.
I didn't think they're killing the business themselves.
They're trying to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, it doesn't make sense. It's like you still got kids at the stadium that might think it's real. And then you're going to show this shit. Like, and you're gonna go have The Rock out there says it's not real. Don't believe everything. What's going on? Like, why is he trying to sabotage everything at this point? Like, it doesn't make sense.
I think at this point he feels some type of way. Go back on your previous. I feel he feels some type of way because he's feeling as Triple H is treating me as an employee. Technically, you're my employee.
Right.
Like, don't forget where you are.
Right. Yeah, and I could see that.
I feel that the owner of TKO is like, we let him have complete power over even board of directors. Yeah. That's why they're going so much with Triple H's ideas.
Yeah, it seems like a conflict of power lately. And I mean, there's always the case, could it be a work? But I don't know. It just seems too high at this point to be a work. Why would you delivery sabotage a kind of a Mania? Because I don't know. But hell, even Mania itself, if we talk about the matches, just kind of like some of them were like why, some of them were good, but it just didn't live up to the Mania last year 40. It just
actually ever since 20, a lot of Manias have been like that though. Like you get one good one, which is like 40, and then one bad one good one bad one good one equal one good one all right, and like when you get your 10s, like you're 50. All right, cool. We're gonna go big again, and then 51 sucks, and then 52 is okay. 53 is better. 54 is just like and then 55 is it's good, and then 56 is miss. 57, 58, 59. All right, 60. Hey, it's back up to being the great again.
I agree with you, but I feel like it started like after 25, because
dude, 20 sucked.
20 wasn't bad. The main event.
Okay, after that, what happened?
I mean, the card wasn't bad. I thought it was pretty decent. The only thing that was bad was Goldberg versus Brock. I thought that was fucking horrible. Everything else was pretty good. And then 21 wasn't that bad either. Going to Hollywood, pretty good. 22, we were there. That was good too. I thought that was good. Like, you had no big noticeable name, but I gave it like a B, a solid B plus. 23 was pretty decent. Shawn Michaels versus Cena, Batista versus Taker. That Money in the Bank was really fucking awesome when Jeff Hardy went on the top. And 24, it was all right.
That's one.
Yeah. Edge Taker. I don't know. I like that promo. I like that whole angle.
Was good.
The build-up was good.
I think the whole animosity of
and that's the issue. That's always been the issue at that point. And that's another topic for another day. We could talk about who should have took the streak. I had my,
I think you agree on the same person.
Yeah, probably. But that being said, though, future, what do you think, SG3? I kind of said what I said. I said if he comes back, I don't think the fans are going to buy into his bullshit anymore.
I just thought, personally, dude, I never bought into it. Was I hyped to see him? Absolutely, dude. I grew up with The Rock. I grew up watching The Rock. I grew up, people championing great, everything that he would call himself cool. I grew up with that. Last year, again, we were there, literally standing up. We never even sat down, dude. We were standing right by the concession stand at Allstate Arena,
right,
and literally watching this man perform the final boss. Right. Everything about the fight. So it was like, all right, cool. Like that's impressive.
Yeah. Oh, and one noticeable thing that I kind of forgot to mention now. It did seem like he was supposed to appear in Vegas. You want to know why?
Why?
So when you're at the superstores, and somebody pointed this out, and I could confirm this because I was there. Of course, they did have finally The Rock has come back to Vegas shirts selling. Now, yeah, it could just be merch that they were selling, but it just seemed like this was planned. But when things didn't go his way, he kind of took his ball and went home. And that's when he told Cody and them, "You don't need me. Trust me, you don't need me. I don't want to be here anyways."
So then at this point, okay, so that was all that being said. It must have been like one of those like, well, listen, I gave you guys the idea. I pitched it. I did what I had to do. You guys weren't selling seats because Cena didn't win the Royal Rumble.
Right.
Punk is not in the main event.
Right.
Punk isn't going for a championship. That's what they thought was supposed to be Gunther versus Punk. That had to get changed. Cena was supposed to win the Rumble. He didn't, so everything got botched. Notice from Royal Rumble, WWE was going down. And they weren't buying the Jey Uso versus Gunther. So that's why it's like, well, the reason why we're not selling out at Chamber is because you guys messed up with Cena.
Well, my theory too is that they didn't sell out because You seen the prices for these tickets?
I've been to two shows recently. So I can tell you they're not cheap.
They're not cheap anymore. They're ridiculous. Like you want to get some nosebleeds at a small arena that's capacity 20,000 people, you're paying $100 minimum just for a ticket.
Last year, what? When we went, how much was it? 70?
75, and it's just been increasing since then. I checked out Backlash tickets on a third party, site, and the cheapest I could find with the fees included. Look, I'm spending like 160 for nosebleeds.
Man.
Once again, nosebleeds. That is the issue. They're not selling because you can't bring the whole family out. You have to have hardcore fans. The issue is it's tough times right now. Yeah, we're not going to be able to afford this constantly going out and partying with WWE when WWE doesn't want us to party anymore because they want to hike up everything at this point. On top of that, selling merch at a ridiculous price, like $40 for a fucking t-shirt.
Fanatics took way over. Now here right now, I'm on a third party site pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cheapest right now that they have, right? Cheapest ticket, nosebleed, $222.
That's what I'm saying.
And there's no taxes. There's no taxes, no fees. So right now, if I was to buy 2 tickets, $444.
Imagine front row.
I can tell you right now, front row, cheapest one they have right now is 12. Well, actually, no, it's most expensive. $12,475. Section C, row 2.
Oh, that's a good chunk of change right there.
Another one, row B, section B, row 15, $755.
Damn.
And again, this is a site that doesn't charge you service fees. Because they don't charge you all the fees. Of course, people are gonna, kind of go a little bit more, but they don't go as high.
As high as those.
But even then, though, yeah, they're like, that's expensive.
That is expensive, and that's the thing too. It's just like for them to tell us to shut up and enjoy the show. No,
I'll shut up and enjoy the show from home.
Exactly. Come on, man. You don't go to a restaurant and you don't have the waiter to say, "Hey, this is what you're gonna eat. Enjoy." You're gonna get the fuck out of there. And that's my thing. It's like if they keep giving us this type of shit in the future, I can see the whole popularity decreasing once again. Like it's just there seems like there's a mix of creative and there seems like there's a power struggle going on. And if they can't get on the same page, we're gonna have some shitty ass storylines for the next few manias once again. Yeah, and it's just like we had 39 was great. And 40 was great too. I think both of them were great. Personally, I think 39 was better overall, but that's just me. Some people think 40 was a lot greater than 39. Doesn't matter. Back-to-back WrestleMania is great. This one just felt like a regular PLE. Nothing special. It didn't have that Mania feeling. Now, did it have some flashy moments like, the triple threat match between Rollins, Punk, and Roman, and CM Punk coming out, with his old entrance? That also Rhea, Io, and Bianca killed it. Probably one of the best women triple threat matches that I've ever seen in my life. As well as, Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. That was a good match.
So, by the way, right now, at Backlash, shows on Ticketmaster.com.
All right, from the official site.
From the official site, before taxes, fees, everything, cheapest ticket, $150.
Times that, plus that by like 60.
But this one, hold on, I'm going to tell you right now, right? Because Ticketmaster lets you go all the way through, and it's like, are you sure you want these tickets? Blah, blah, blah. They tell you everything. But right now, at checkout, after taxes, fees, everything, you're looking at, for two tickets, $363.90 for 2 tickets.
Oh, yeah.
With no insurance, nothing. Just literally just that.
And, that's the thing. It's hard to justify, It's just like going to these PLEs, paying that ridiculous amount.
I'm going to stay home, dude.
Sometimes it's better off.
I'm going to stay home.
Yeah.
I'm really stay home.
Sometimes it's just better off. The comfort of your home, you only pay the minimal. And you have all the snacks a lot cheaper than you're going to pay. Plus, you're paying all that snack fees. Concession stands ain't cheap, and beer ain't cheap in any area, especially in Vegas. That was costly. And they did say that they're planning to go back to Vegas in about 3 to 5 years because it did well. course it did well. You jacked up the fucking prices. It did well for the city as well. The whole city was full of WWE everywhere. Everywhere you go, every store,
to the
casinos, everywhere jacked up with WWE. Now, as experience wise, it was great. As a fan watching the product, just because the experience was great, I want Mania itself to be great. And it should be great. It's like you should be excited like when we were kids, when you're younger. You know when Mania was coming, you know, you're like, oh man, springtime, let's do this. Oh, let's get ready. Oh, you felt the excitement. And yeah, some years it did suck, but you still were excited. Look, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Besides me being excited to go to Vegas itself, I just didn't have the same energy of the show itself at all. It just felt like another PLE. And I felt like that was because the storylines weren't as built as they were last year. Like around this time last year, we were going crazy. We were talking about
we're there.
We were there, yeah. Not only that, but hell, before Mania, we were getting excited. We are like, oh man, what's gonna happen? You know, is Cody gonna? And I get it. You know, it was a big main event, but even then, the undercard, everything was just built perfect. You know, it just that's the thing. It just feels like something's missing this year. Something was missing. Storylines weren't there. They just seemed very lackluster, and everything seemed like there was supposed to be something else.
It's because again, moment day one, everyone was hyped for 5 minutes. After the Yeet Woman died, after 5 minutes, that's when everyone said, wait, Jay's going to go against Gunther. I personally was not a fan of that match from the moment it was booked. I despise the match, personally.
Like Jay, does he need to work on wrestling a lot more? Yeah. Does he need to work on promos? Yeah. I still think he has a lot of charisma, like natural charisma.
He had, okay, hear me out.
Okay.
This is why I said I dislike it. Right. I've never changed my stance on this match, and I will always stand by this stance.
Yeah.
I get Gunther wanting some time to go home. Cool, no problem. Netflix needs the title to be shown. Cool, all good, no worries, whatever. Right.
Right.
Here's my thing, though.
What's it about?
You have him build up as Intercontinental Champion for 700 something days, and next to UK Champion for 800 something days. So it's like, dude, this guy's gonna hold the belt for a while. Like that was his legacy, dude. That was such a powerhouse. You know, such a destroyer, such an invigorator. Like he can't be beat. Like you need to go that extra mile to beat him.
Right.
You know, and again, it's like coming into the ring. Michael Cole's like, only 2 people have ever beaten him: Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn. That no one else has beaten him. He's beating them all. So I'm like, dude, this goes to show you like the resume this man has, and for him to tap in less than 10 seconds.
I think I agree with you, and I think the match should have lasted longer, and it should have been something better to get defeated by. But and I get that. I didn't agree with the submission tapping right away. I think it could have been a lot better at that point. The only issue is, yeah, what if you had CM Punk versus Gunther? Would it have been good to see CM Punk get a main event? Yes. But I felt like we did get something better. We did get the Wise Man finally turning on Punk and Roman, and dude, the whole setup when he low blowed everybody and got them, and when Seth just like started laughing without even seeing, like it was planned. That was perfect, dude. Yeah, and the way he just knew about it right away, like he didn't have to turn around to know what just happened. Yeah, and it's like, dude, perfect moment.
So look, I'll bet you this one really quickly. So go back quickly to Gunther versus Jay, right?
Right.
That's what Gunther wanted to leave to do whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You make the match a little longer, about 2-3 more minutes, right?
Right.
5 minutes times, right?
Okay.
But you make Gunther win against Jay because no one was really like, hey,
Yep.
You know? So it's like you make Gunther win against Jay, and then the next night, guys like, to me, I gotta go, to surgery, whatever. Title's up for grabs. Go ahead, have fun.
Okay, I can see that.
So it's like you're still protecting Gunther. You're not making him look like a bitch because he tapped out in less than 10 seconds. You're keeping his legacy strong.
Right.
And it's like, look, dude, We get it. You're fine. Go ahead.
I get that too.
And I feel like that's what a lot of fans were just so upset about because it's like you're protecting this man for so long just because of a heat. You're gonna change it.
I guess I get you. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I could see your point of view. I guess the reason why I just like Jay, I just feel like he is naturally charismatic. And there was another guy a few years ago that's won the 17 title that everybody was saying the same exact thing. The man can't wrestle. We don't know if he could cut a promo well, which he did pretty good even back in the day. And obviously, he's probably one of the greatest persons in the mic that ever lived now. I even put him ahead of The Rock in my eyes. But we said the same thing with Cena, man. I don't know, man. I just said give him some time. And you know what? We did hate on Cena. We did boo the shit out of him. And now, let's be real. We all consider Cena the GOAT. I consider him as the GOAT. I don't know about you. I always will consider Cena as the GOAT. I will stick by it. I said it myself. Big Cena fan. I was there in 22 cheering him on, and it never changed. Like I said, that man's the GOAT. That man is the best in my eyes. And no one else would ever break his legacy, man. For everything he has done, Make-A-Wish, going throughout the years, being Super Cena. I mean, you might have hated, but God's sakes, man, no other wrestler I felt like could ever ate that crowd up. No matter how much they booed, the man ate it up.
Yeah.
The man inserted it all. The man flipped it on them. All the time, man. Hell, it wasn't easy. Even ECW One Night Stand, when he got booed.
Cena wins me right. Golly, dude.
I think
I was at WrestleMania 28 when he fought The Rock, and believe me, that was a hostile crowd, bro. Even though we had just witnessed Taker versus Triple H, when they both came out, like we were tired as hell from just that match alone, but we still let you know, like we effing hate you.
Well, take that. I think one of the hostile crowd would be One Night Stand, and then
most hostile.
Yeah, and then the closest one would be CM Punk versus Cena and Money in the Bank in Chicago. And everybody let them know, like, hey, Cena, you win this, you go over Punk. That's it. We're done. I thank God they did the right move then. I don't know, man. It just did not seem like a great year for Mania. Great year for storylines, build up. Now the Raw afterwards, they gave us some hope. And they gave us the return of Rusev Day. But I don't think he's gonna come back with that gimmick though. Like, I don't know if you saw his promo today. He was serious. He's like, I think he's coming back as a different version of himself.
But he was version.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah, I think he's coming out just by like his kind of like his gimmick in AEW, more serious type. And then we also got the return of Aleister Black, which was pretty great to see that he had his own theme song. And like that whole aura, man, I was like, damn.
You know what I love now? I love how the mess was white. Here comes another like yin and yang.
Yeah, it was over with one kick and KO, and this it should be. It's great to see Aleister return. I mean,
kind of cute moment with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was kind of cute. She won.
So there is a couple of hopes, man, because they did go a couple of ways of creative coming out of this, like tonight, as well as Braun, Seth, and Paul Heyman kicking the shit out of Sami Zayn, which we had to see that coming eventually, unfortunately. Well, Sami did get destroyed from Braun Breaker real bad. So I mean, man, this is a rampage. This is a revenge tour, man, on everybody. Honestly, the direction it's going to, I mean, we're getting Cena and Orton again in Backlash in Randy Orton's hometown, I guess.
That's the biggest slam.
Yeah.
That's got to be the biggest slam because you know what's going to happen.
And let's be real, that whole Randy coming out, like, no matter what, you could never get tired of him catching an RKO. And the way Cena sold it.
Cena sells it.
Yeah.
He sells it. Sells it.
But the way he's like, shit. I just like, when I heard that live, I'm just like, oh my God, this is just funny. I thought I was hearing things until I told the person next to me. I'm like, bro, did he say shit? He goes like, yeah. I'm like, I knew it, man. This guy just sells it so fucking funny. Yeah, no, Orton versus Cena. It's just been announced today as well. Gunther versus Pat McAfee. And I get why. Because you already know Pat McAfee's about to go off in this NFL college football season type. So he's not going to be around. We already know this. So instead of just him disappearing, I guess now they want to write him off by getting his ass kicked by Gunther.
Why not?
Why not at this point, you know? And as well as Jay versus Logan, as we talked about earlier, pretty good direction. I guess we see Penta feuding with the Judgment Day, which makes sense. Do we see his brother joining him eventually?
No, I hope not right now. Anything next year, but not right now.
Yeah, I feel like Rey Fenix should just kill it by himself. He's a great wrestler.
He's unfortunate to lose, to El Grande Americano from the Gulf of America. We appreciate you for that.
But
hello.
But put it this way, he had to because he was subbing for Rey.
Yeah.
It happens. It is what it is. I don't think that was bad. I think it was the right call. I think El Gran Mexicano is a great fucking wrestler. Yeah, honestly, he is.
I wonder who he is.
I can't tell. I really can't. I know Chad Gable's a fucking huge fan.
I know what he's doing. Really is.
And it's going to be interesting now that they purchased AAA.
Yeah.
Can we see Gran Americano against some of the stars of AAA?
Oh, El Hijo del Vikingo, that's going to be badass.
It's going to be badass. And
I want to know what's going to happen to a lot of those people that are AAA right now. Taking the Math, Alberto Del Rio, Matt Riddle. That's the name of you.
Is Matt Riddle contracted?
Yes. He's on the roster page.
Interesting.
So is Alberto Del Rio, and so is the first guy I said. After Alberto.
Yeah, I know.
Nick the Meth.
Conan is in charge of creative, apparently. Or like he's gonna be helping them a lot. Maybe he has some say of these guys staying, because I guess he doesn't have any issues with any of these guys, apparently, in this podcast he announced. It'll be interesting to know. You know, it's hard to see Riddle after the incidents. It's also hard to see the Roberto Del Rio just because of the him attacking a fan. Personally,
and with everybody else.
Well, personally, I'm not a big fan of them purchasing smaller businesses just because it seems like they're going to monopolize the game, as well as AEW doing that as well.
AEW started first result.
Well, they purchased Ring of Honor when they went out of business. It was a little different between them for going out.
Well, who knows if AAA was talking about it? Because, I mean, we saw the owners are like, we're wanting the money. Got it.
Well, there was talks about them going bankrupt, and then Conan did say in his podcast it was never the case. It was just, we need an advance for the future. This is the best way. I agree. I put it this way, dude. My whole issue with this, and it goes both ways, but it just seems like more of lately WWE's been kind of petty towards AEW, and I'll tell you why. Just because at this point, they're very taking a lot of fucking jabs at them lately. Gunther and I think Gunther did say something like, "Oh yeah, I'll never wrestle in that, company ever again." But he kind of threw a jab at the company down south in Florida. Same thing with Michael Cole and Paul Heyman when Heyman turned heels, saying, "Oh well, at least he didn't work to that company down south in Florida, And Triple H did mention a couple of comments, so it is. Nick Khan did throw shade at Tony Khan, saying that, well, it's a billionaire's son that's really running the show. Take that, like he's not wrong, but it's like it's kind of petty, dude. It's like Vince McMahon, he knew he was a bigger fish in the pond when against TNA. How many times have you seen him throw jabs at TNA, really?
Because TNA wasn't doing what AEW did.
I disagree. At some point, TNA was competing with WWE for a while. What do you think they went to Monday night head-to-head, and then when Hogan came in, they got Hogan, they got Bischoff, Scott Hall, Jeff Hardy, all in one night. For God's sakes. They were there. They were kind of like Triple H. Vince McMahon did see him as a threat, but he knew he was going to be the bigger fish in the pond. Like, in my eyes, AEW is never going to compete. But now it seems like they're getting petty, so they're starting to monopolize the game. That way, AEW starts running out of potential superstars to pick up. And let me put it this way. The reason I say this is that if it wasn't for AEW, and I'm not saying that AEW is better than WWE, the other way around. Overall, for wrestlers itself, for independent contractors, this is a good thing. Because before then, you only had one competition, and it was just WWE. That's it. AEW came around. They offered you bigger, better contracts, beneficial to all wrestlers, and an alternative source where you could get just as famous, maybe a little bit famous, depending on who you talk about, maybe NJF. But the point is, you could get a better contract, better money, and you don't have to settle for WWE. These were where all the wrestlers that WWE didn't want picked up. And without them, let's be real, no CM Punk, no Cody Rhodes, no Jade Cargo, no Aleister Black returning. So many people, dude. Ricky Saint now. It's like on top of the world, dude. If it wasn't for this competition, that's the issue. The fact that I feel WWE is getting petty that AEW is offering them bigger contracts. And WWE doesn't want to give out those bigger contracts, unfortunately. Because he did say, I think it was Stephanie, she did wrestle in AEW. She had a match against Mercedes. And during that match, they did offer, both of the companies offered them a contract. AEW was a bigger contract. Triple H said, look, take the contract. But you're not going to be happy there. So we know that AEW is offering them more money. And it seems like, was Triple H right? Yes, I probably do agree. She would have got lost in the shuffle. But at the same time, I feel like WWE is getting petty that they're getting offered bigger contracts. Because look with what happened. Okada signed with AEW instead of WWE. WWE kind of was really mad about that situation. Who else? Will Ospreay. Yeah, that was the biggest low blow that Triple H is still feeling today.
I feel like, because we talked about it a lot.
He did.
He really did. And he was like, dude, it was a schedule that they had me on. That's what killed me. That's what I was like. It wasn't the money. Honestly, don't get me wrong. They paid me great over here, and over there was but it was the schedule y'all wanted me to do. That's where he started coming out after work ethic and this and that, and that's why Will Ospreay started to say, "You want to talk about work ethic? Cool, homie, I got you. Don't worry."
But I think they would have offered him any close to the amount he's getting right now in AEW.
Of course not.
I think it would have been 25% of it.
Yeah. It's because with WWE was more like it's an incentive, if that makes sense. So you get a certain amount, and then it's like you do your merch sales, you're gonna get your promotion off of that. You're gonna be on the poster, you get something off of that. You're on the pay-per-view, you get something like that. And it's like the way I feel AEW is regardless, you're just getting paid.
Yeah.
That's why it's like they have the nicer contracts, but it's like WWE, it's still like it's still a hustle, if that makes sense. You still have to get to that level.
Yeah. I guess to me, it's like, I get it. Competition is great. I don't know. I just feel like I may not agree with everything Vince did in the past, but I feel like Vince did right by not acknowledging it. It's like,
he acknowledged it. There was a couple of times that they brought up AEW before he left.
TNA? I'm talking about TNA when.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about. No, there was a couple of times that they said AEW without a problem when Vince was running.
Yeah, but it wasn't to the point where we're knocking at your door now, get out of business.
It really did.
What incident?
Sami Zayn, when he did the color promo, he was about the company on the other side. Oh, I said the company.
That was the only thing I remembered. I was gonna say that's the only thing I remember.
There was a couple I can't remember, but that was the main one. He was talking about AEW or something like that, something else.
But I'm saying Vince himself,
Vince,
because you have Nick Khan, Triple H now,
okay.
Throwing jabs. I never heard Vince say it himself. There was a report when Vince was running the thing that he said, "Yeah, I know what AEW is. I know what's going on. Not a threat." And it's kind of that is the honest truth. WWE's been around for a long time. They should not be worried. I guess to me, it's just I'm scared that the business is going to get monopolized pretty soon. In a way, with the territories, yes.
I feel like the WWE, the reason why they bought all the companies that they bought it wasn't to monopolize, but it was to create an extension to them. Because they saw what AEW was doing, it's like, man, this is great stuff if you think about it. It's a great little cross promo. They're doing this, they're doing that. They're moving here, and it's like you don't have to have everybody on Raw. You don't have to have everybody on SmackDown. You don't have to have everybody in the pay-per-view. So cool. Now you could have your Randy Orton show up in AAA. You can show up Hijo del Vikingo against Rey Fenix, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all that stuff is it makes sense for them to do, and it's not a monopolization, if that makes sense.
Well, what if they did buy in the future TNA though, and then they own too much product to the point where they're kind of like controlling what you could do and what you can't do. You know, like right now it's great, but whenever something is monopolized in business, eventually it turns into shit. As future results.
I just feel like this one right now because that was AEW. AEW is just bought this, bought that, partner to this, partner to that. And it's like WWE was, and a lot of fans were like, dude, you guys are falling still on the old terms. We want to see, you know, for example, Ray Phoenix versus Hijo del Vikingo. Want to see Penta versus Hijo del Vikingo. You know, you were talking about those kind of matches, like, man, but it was always never going to happen.
Well, they could make it happen. You just got to partner with them.
But I just feel like at this point, again, I'll go back to what I said before. It's one of those, let's bring this up,
Right.
bring it in, and then on top of that, you're giving it worldwide exposure.
Right. That I do agree. I just don't think long term, once it gets too powerful, it never turns out. If history repeats itself in any company, it just never turns out great. And not only that, but your old merchandise, the videotape and everything, it's all going to be in a vault. Yeah. And in order to get there, you're going to have to subscribe to whatever they sell you. Like right now, the WCW channel is free, right? But you got to go through a bunch of subscriptions now in order to get to every product. There's no more WWE Network. That's gone. And everything was there. That was like one of the greatest things they created, and they took it away. Reason why is they wanted. Huh?
Overseas.
What was that?
Overseas. Like in Europe, it's not.
Wow.
You can still actually have it at WWE Network. Because your app is still up. I still actually had it for like a long time.
But does it work through it?
It doesn't work here because here's like, to find this, you have to go to here.
But I'm saying, does it work in the UK? Like actually?
I think so.
Because I heard they got cut off too.
Oh,
yeah, everything got cut off. So the point is, it's just that, like, at some point, it's going to be hard to find old libraries. And the reason they're cutting it up and chopping it off and putting some on Netflix, putting some through here, they're eventually going to charge you more money to watch all this crap. And I guess that's what I'm worried about too, you know? Like, just don't need to pay for more and more stuff constantly. I mean, that's, who knows what's going to happen. I'm not saying that the whole AAA thing is not a good thing. It's going to be great to see what the future holds with them and how they go about business.
You know, have like, instead of a 30-man Royal Rumble, 40 man, 60 man. So you can like really increase it.
Right.
Dude, Saudi Arabia kind of like changed the game.
Right.
Dude, regardless of what people say about Saudi Arabia events, it changed the game a lot.
Also,
so I just told you, when they had the greatest Royal Rumble and Braun won that one, and you had Titus O'Neil do a baseball slide under the ring, now it's like, all right, cool. Now you're not taking your guys who are like tired, who are vets, and it's like, all right, man, look, we're going to take your legacy here, and you're going to be in there for 2 minutes and get eliminated real quickly, and you don't throw a punch. You just get beat up, and then you get tossed out.
Right.
And it's like you're not calling a lot of old school favors anymore because some guys don't want to come back. They're like, dude, I could barely move nowadays. So it's like, all right, cool. Now you could bring in AAA into this. You could, aside from just NXT and SmackDown and Raw, it's now bring in AAA, bring in like those AAA guys into the Royal Rumble, into those kind of events, because Lucha Libre is starting to become huge.
I mean, it's been huge. I think just
here. I get it's huge. Don't get me wrong, but it's starting to actually be a lot more known here to WWE fans. Hear what I just said, to WWE fans.
Well, do we have CMLL, their competition, that's actually been doing great apparently.
Well, they're also time with TNA, with AEW.
Well, they have partnerships, yeah. They all have partnerships with them. And I get it, but here's the thing though, it's just that in the end of the day, to fans, you can only watch so much. And that's an issue. Like Bayley getting taken off of Mania, that was a big thing. I didn't agree with that. I don't understand that. I was kind of disappointed in that. And, you know, there's just a lot of people are going to miss a lot of time for the big show. That's the issue. We're going to have more issues of eventually there are getting more wrestlers, but I feel like eventually they're going to run into that issue where they're not going to get enough screen time and everybody's going to want to be in the big leagues. But you can't put everybody in the big leagues, unfortunately. And that's where you're going to have a lot of wrestlers wanting to leave at some point.
Well, I think at this point, I think my thing is, so now you're pulling people from TNA.
Yeah.
You're pulling people from AAA. You're not calling the Bellators anymore to come back and do a favor. You're not calling Trish Stratus anymore. You're not calling Lita. Don't get me wrong, they're nice pops, but I don't want to see them be Mae Young and Luna, whatever the chick's name was.
Yeah, but the issue is though is that you still have a lot of casual fans. Yeah, and let's be real.
And that's what I'm saying. With them getting AAA, it does build a business for them, like a different platform. So right now, cool. Start showing who you want to show up. Start looking. Start putting them out. Yeah, this girl comes from AAA. Blah blah blah. Whatever her name is, because I don't know the roster myself. I don't have to look it up like that right now. But it's like when you start looking at, all right, cool. Now it's like you can get Stephanie McCoy against all those people. So it's like it's gonna start building it, and I feel like it's so far right now. I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah, but like WWE involved. That's in Tubi. They bought that company, and I don't know. I don't think a lot of people watch that. That's what I'm saying. Could it just be another involved in the end? It's like you can only get so much, until people are kind of like, it's still the same product. It's just I don't know. I can see your point. I get it.
Let's hope it's for the best.
For the best, yeah. I mean, then aside for that, Joe Henry getting RKO was funny as hell. People said it was him buried. I don't see it obviously, but I can see why fans are upset. I mean, he is the TNA World Champion, but I don't see it as being buried. It is what it is, man. It was a Mania moment, regardless for him. Same thing happened to AJ Styles. When he faced Jericho, people said, "Oh, you just came in to get buried," and Styles said it himself. No, I had my Mania moment. I'm happy. And sometimes what you got to do is you got to come in and be a team player, especially when you're coming from the outside. Joe Henry is built from the outside. Can't just come in another company and expect to be the top dog and not get buried at some point. Now, I'm not saying he got buried. I'm saying he got pinned. Against a legend like Randy Orton, not a bad thing. Nah. And not only that, but he got a huge pop of the night, I want to say. Yeah. And I mean, overall, man, the future looks good. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It looks good. I just hope they settle the whole Rock and Triple H creative thing, and this doesn't go out of hand to the point where we're starting to see some shitty ass product again. Yeah. 2019. The last Vince era where he's just shitting on all over the product. And then we got a company out of it, so I guess it wasn't that bad, Things happen for a reason. But I don't know, man. That's your recap on all this. SG3, any closing thoughts?
We'll be back next week, probably same time, but we will be giving you guys updates.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
Yep. See you guys next time. Dig it.